A lot of times people are so focused on the cerebral aspect of their job, and they're not focused on how to deliver particular services. And it's not on its face interesting, right? Project management itself, like when you just brass tacks it, boring, except when you're actually solving problems with it. Then it's fascinating, and it's one of the best things in the world. I mean, if you like puzzles, then you should like project management because it solves the puzzle.
Lawsome, the podcast for law firms. Powered by Consultwebs.
Welcome back to Lawsome, the only podcast for law firms that manages its projects the old-fashioned way, with procrastination. We're here to inform, educate, and entertain the legal community on the latest in legal marketing and law firm development. I am Jake Sanders, a former weightlifter, trying to lift my spirits. And with me is Paul Julius, the plucky kid that walks into my life and away with our hearts.
Oh, shucks, Mr. Sanders.
Well, you helped pull me out of some serious, deep depression.
It was depression. I did, huh?
And some trash. I was living in the dumpster.
That's it, man. Well, you were too focused on the weightlifting. I'm telling you right now, man.
And the steroids.
I was trying to be nice.
Well, you were the one holding the belt and tightening my arm as I shot the steroids into my... Anyway, tell people what's on the show today.
On the show today, we talk legal tech and business trends with an article from Adorant, and then we talk legal project management with Jessica Robinson. And as always, we evaluate our guests' subtasks with 5 questions we ask everyone.
Pull up a plate. It's the Hot Takes Buffet.
The Hot Take Buffet today is just smelling delightful with an article from Adorant, which is a software company that provides comprehensive business management software for law firms, and has a really weird name.
Yeah, I don't know why it keeps cracking me up.
Adorant.
Just tickles my funny bone. Sorry, folks. I'm sure they're a great company.
Yeah, it just seems like an inhaler for your puppy or something. So they have an article on it on their site called 25 Legal Tech Predictions for 2020. And I chose it for today. The theme is project management, and Jessica Robinson, who works at CasePoint, which is an e-discovery company, is just brilliant in the way she simplifies project management. And there were 2 predictions here in this Adorant article that stuck out to me because I thought that they sort of complexified things. And that is the center of my hot take. So there's 25 of these things.
I'm not reading.
No. But there's 2 that stuck out. And so the first one mentions that lawyers are going to be in 2020 getting into more lean and Six Sigma project management strategies. And then there was another one down. The 13th one was that project management decisions are going to be less in the hands of the finance folks and more in the hands of those in the firm with more client experience. So actually handling project management and how it works within a law firm is going to be less the decision of the procurement and more the decision of the people that are using it or, using it as a halfway or connection tool to the client. So I thought that was really important because that is what project management is. If it's good, it does connect you to solving client issues. But I thought that first one really bothered me because on the show, we've talked, we're on 100-something episodes. I don't ever hear anybody saying, I'm just going to handle this either with the Lean or Six Sigma principle. Maybe I don't know what's going on inside of baseball. Maybe that's how lawyers talk a lot. But, but you know what I mean? I don't think so. You laugh, Paul. Maybe that's part of your hot take. So my hot take is I think this over complexifies things because I don't hear people say that they're going to Six Sigma something.
Yeah, that is, Jessica talks about it later, but I mean, really the project management comes from manufacturing. So, and I come from manufacturing, so I'm familiar with it that way. I rarely hear that kind of terminology used in the more service-based stuff. So
what about software? Has anybody tried to agile you into some Six Sigma?
I mean, it was
selling you that Adderant on the corner.
It's crazy.
Crushed up Adderant.
I mean, there's some good points here. I like what you're saying.
Right.
It is confusing. I think, I think this article is a good demonstration of, maybe some of the misconceptions about what project management actually is, and kind of how the fundamentals of that are applied. Like Jessica says later, that a lot of times people actually are doing it without even realizing it. And this is just more of like a systemification of that. There's a lot of interesting predictions in here. I know this is one of those kind of reach out, get some stuff, and put it all together based on what people say. But there's a lot of contradictory information in here. For example, virtual assistants and automation grow. That's number 9. Number 10, lawyers simplify the tech they use. Okay. So is that
part of it? And then number 5, this is the year of the
next one is AI drives new legal solutions. Like what?
Chatbots, AI, blockchain, client simpler, portal,
but more complex. But we're going to have virtual assistants and new legal solutions, and then machine learning is going to drive an adaptive experience. I mean, maybe each one of these things on their own has some kind of nugget, but I just think when you put them all together, it just blurs. Like I don't know what it is. I would, if I were a lawyer, I don't know what I would take out of this thing.
Well,
hey, things are going to change, but they might not. But you have to be managing it. But if you're not, it's okay, because lawyers are slow to change anyway. But they better be ready for AI. But it doesn't matter because it's going to be simpler.
And here's a client portal in case you have they're looking for an adaptive experience with machine learning.
Let's get an app. That's it. Throw an app at it.
That's it. Everybody's going to be doing that. And if it isn't handled that way, then you have to Six Sigma your way through it.
That's right.
Well, it's interesting because maybe project management is what you need to figure out how you discern the information of reality.
You need the problem. That's what Jessica says, and I thought it was awesome, was that you have to say, well, what is it that we're trying to find a solution for? Instead of a list of solutions that you're going to try and fit into whatever your problem is.
And you're going to take this jumbled bag of things back to your shareholders or partners and scare everybody because you're going to focus on one or two of them or a half of them. And it's just going to be more restless activity when you really need to be maybe focusing in on something you can rely on to solve a problem from the beginning to the end, which is, oddly enough, what Jessica Robinson's talking about, what Case Point does, what they help lawyers do at the big AM law. And there's lessons for the small, JD on the street. There's just a inspirational bag of stuff happening in this interview.
The JD on the street.
That's it. The JD on the street. She knows who she is. She's out there.
You holding any legal?
Slanging that shingle. Hanging it where it needs to get hung. You know? I don't know.
Got 2 injunctions. Got to move them.
We're on the move. We're on the move. So anyway, it's a great point that you made there. A lot of contradictory information. And at the end, it's just a jumble. That's really why you need project management, to get through the jumble. Right? I mean,
yeah. It's a clear, that's what I'm saying. It's like a systematic way to approach a problem, find a solution, and then work towards it. I mean, that's at its basic, but Jessica, she lays it out much better than that because she's, like the expert's expert.
Yeah. Exactly right. Well, without further ado, let's go to that interview now.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Any lawyer looking to grow their business online can generate more leads from their website by hiring Consultwebs. After working with lawyers exclusively since 1999, we've tested thousands of web designs and marketing strategies, so we know what flips and what flops. For more information, visit www.consultwebs.com today.
Let's head over to the interview.
Jessica Robinson is an attorney with more than 17 years of experience in the legal industry, 16 of which were spent working for such notable AM law firms as Morgan, Lewis and Bacchius, Morrison and Foster, Crowell and Mooring, and Paul Hastings. Did I do it right?
You did. Morrison and Forster, but for the most part, it's right.
Jessica served in a variety of operational leadership roles ranging from litigation support and senior firm-wide e-discovery resource manager to firm-wide director of e-data practice support and the e-data project management office. That's a title. All right. Jessica earned her JD from Wake Forest, got her MBA from Wake Forest too, attended the Babcock Graduate School of Business, and now her career takes a stunning turn with an appearance on the Lawson podcast. Jessica, you're so amazing. Thank you for being here.
Oh, no problem. I'm honored, actually. Thank you for having me.
Well, so let's talk about your work with CasePoint specifically. What is the elevator pitch? Who are your clients there, and what sets you apart from competitors in the space?
So we service a variety of types of clients, from law firms to corporations to government entities. We mainly operate in the space of e-discovery, and our bread and butter is our e-discovery tool, CasePoint, which is also our name. And our differentiator is that CasePoint is a full end-to-end, full service product. No need for add-ons. Has all of the advanced technology you would need to run an e-discovery project, from collection all the way to disposition. What we do is we turn basic users into power users, and the tool does that on its own.
So you're talking about end-to-end service. What were you were you kind of addressing a need? Were people just using quilts to keep themselves warm, and this is a blanket, or what's going on there?
Yeah. So what happened? So e-discovery, when it first started, a framework got put around it. The framework, ironically, was a marketing framework, and it's the EDRM, and it's kind of a process, but really it's a framework that divides stuff into actionable chunks.
EDRM stands for Electronic Discovery Reference Model. The EDRM model provides insight on how to handle e-discovery, and has broken e-discovery into the following stages: information governance, identification, preservation, collection, processing, review, analysis, production, and then presentation.
And those chunks were done by disparate things. And as we, introduced better and new technology, it was disparate technology that Lit Support people had to string together to give you a full service offering. CasePoint, when they came in, was solving the need to take those disparate chunks and put them together into one comprehensive solution. It just happens to be a cloud solution because that makes it scalable, and it also allows for lots of processing power and all these kinds of stuff. But it's been that way from the beginning, and we've been a one tool solution from the beginning. And so as technology evolves, we evolve with it, and sometimes we evolve ahead of it.
We often hear complaints regarding lack of business training and management training that's offered to lawyers, like even coming out of law school. And you have been a longtime evangelist for legal project management and actually taught it at Georgetown, helping lawyers get certified. So, what led you down that road, and where do you think legal project management is headed in the future?
So, what led me down that road was my educational background. I got a JD MBA. Funny enough, I came out of that process not wanting to be a lawyer. And
nice. We can all laugh here. We are safe. Don't worry, Jessica. We can laugh.
But what it did do was it allowed me a unique perspective when I did go into the workforce. I happened to go into a law firm. I happened to fall in Lit Support, and I found that what I learned with my business degree was immediately applicable. And so I immediately started applying it to how we deliver our services. I was in Lit Support and e-discovery, and then I saw how that translated to the law, and then that's how we got into it. I developed the course for Georgetown because someone said we don't have a legal project management course And we see this need and a desire, actually, in the continuing education space for this stuff, because, like you said, that's not like the main thing that law schools are teaching coming out of school. And surprisingly enough, they were right. We got a lot of play in terms of who attended the courses, all the way from paralegals, all the way to lawyers from all over the world and country, basically, would come to this course. That's how much of a need there was for something like that. And I developed it based on not just e-discovery, but how to apply project management principles to legal. And really, that is, how do we, legal is a service model. How do we just do service project management and apply that to legal concepts? Started.
Well, no. Talking about a service model, what break that apart? Because maybe there's some lawyers that are thinking they just learned the expertise and that's enough.
Yeah, no, yeah, and so project management traditionally was for manufacturing. We lived in a manufacturer type world. We had that's the majority of our majority of our businesses were in the United States. But lawyer or consulting or medical, these are service industry offerings. And so there was a need to apply project management to that, just in general, like just in the world and corporate. So project management itself evolved to incorporate that need past just manufacturing. And so being a lawyer, law services are a service type. And so service project management can totally apply to it. You just have to introduce a lexicon. You have to apply it to legal principles, and now you have legal project management.
When you're saying worldwide interest, when did you start this course at Georgetown?
2010.
Wow.
And I was involved up until 2016. And then I backed off, and a former student now teaches it. So it's still legacy.
Pass the torch. It's amazing, because you'd think that doesn't sound like something that would have come into legal schools in 2010. You think that'd be something along the lines of 1945 or something. So what is that feeling like when you're in the middle, in between the manufacturing and then the service reality? Where's your head at, and why do you think there's this delay here?
Well, the delay is because, well, there's several reasons. I think the biggest reason is law doesn't really like change, which is ironic because they change a lot. So, lawyers and the legal industry is not a big fan of change. There is a service relationship, but that service relationship between a legal and their clients was very personal, very much expertise related and relationship related. So clients trust their lawyers. Well, in 2008, obviously, we had a big adjustment in the economy that caused corporations, at least, to start looking at all of their costs, including their legal fees and their legal departments, which spurred, I believe, the legal ops movement. It came out of that corporate sphere, but that pushed down to law firms. So there's no more black box. Clients want to know where the costs were going, why the costs were the way they were, and it was mainly cost driven. And so, in order to make those justifications, first, law firms had to start getting the data to even answer some of the questions that were being asked. And then, when corporations started seeing the data, they were like, "Well, why is this person even doing this?" Right? So now we have a resource issue in making sure the right person is doing the right job. Okay. Great. So why is it costing so much? And why is this task, which we believe is a commoditized task, being charged the same as this task, which we believe is an expert task? Okay, so now we have task management, and yeah, there's things that can be done repeatable. So all of this is answered by project management. So 2010 makes sense from the economy bottoming out in 2008. So from that crash.
I wanted to ask you about Lola versus Skadden, and this idea that this judge basically said if a machine can do it, it's technically not legal work so it doesn't have to be done by a lawyer. How does that, like, do you have any thoughts on that? How does that play into, how you look at these overall processes, and then maybe more specifically when these companies are talking about costs? Is that something that becomes more of a focus than saying, we don't have to actually pay a lawyer to do this?
Yeah. And the answer is yes and yes. And actually that creates an opportunity for companies like mine. But from a law firm perspective, it also creates an opportunity for them to evolve and take that evolution seriously. Because they're running up against a bunch of competitors that they've never had before, meaning competitors who don't have to be lawyers, right? So there was a thing there, and it still is. Legal work has to be done by lawyers. That's definitely still here. So if types of work is being reclassified as not really legal work, then there's no exclusivity to who can do that type of task, which opens up the market and creates competition. From a perspective of, again, from the law firm perspective, it's probably right. It's probably correct. It's probably the lawyer market finally, or the legal market finally correcting itself. All markets correct themselves. This is a labor correction, meaning the right person, the right thing, it's being classified the right way. So the type of tasks that get competition means the cost will automatically be driven down on those tasks. And lawyers and law firms have to think about how they deliver those services differently as well. And they probably should be thinking that way anyway, in order to just, stay competitive. So that's how I feel about it. I don't know. I'm very much a Keynesian. But no, but I think the market corrects itself, and it should drive how we respond. And if you can see that correction and foresee it, then you're in a better position.
Well, it seems like it's the invisible learned hand coming in and smacking lawyers.
That's right. Go ahead and Adam Smith. Yeah, that's right.
So, but you kind of broke apart something more interesting. Like if you're saying the task gets competitive and it drives down costs, and people are looking at procurement, and people are looking at their books and saying, really, does it take that long? And then tech competency is coming in from the bars. If you could take some of this stuff that you're working with these larger size firms, and corporations and government entities, you could distill some of that, because I think big law sort of informs the way small law gets practiced. Sure. With the partner models and how that sort of informs and sort of creates templates. What's something that you've learned in project management and big law that you think the solos and smalls need to hear, or that they're going to be hearing? Do you think it's this disruption that's headed, or is it this market correction, or what's your piece of advice from big law to small?
Well, I believe this is a huge opportunity for small law, because they can purchase these services and string together a solution that could be comparable what's offered in big law. So that's something. So for example, we say we have a plaintiff firm who's a boutique who deals mostly in, labor. They can partner with someone who has commoditized a portion of this work, for example, technology. Oftentimes we see that that's usually a breakdown and disadvantage for small law to big law, because the type, like for e-discovery, let's just take e-discovery, because those costs are already being driven down from a company perspective. They can start partnering with companies like mine, or with companies who do legal review or other type of very focused legal services, and offer a much more extensive, in terms of their own legal services. They can really put those type of processes together and make them extremely efficient in doing so, and compete.
Indeed. So real quick about Case Point, then, talking about that. Jake, I almost said I have a friend who's a lawyer, but Jake told me I have to say his name. So my lawyer friend, Brad,
who has a name.
who
He's
has
a person
name.
living with a law degree.
I swear I didn't make this person up. So he is a solo small, and one of the things that he's brought up to me is that it's difficult for him to get involved in some of these larger cases where he does feel like he could help these people out, but there is that point of entry that there's so many documents, like he's not going to be able to do it without some kind of e-discovery or filing system. So do you have, is there, but the problem is that the price point, the entry point is sometimes prohibitively high, or there's a long contract. Like, is there anything within Case Point that, I could tell Brad, like, hey, you should go check this out because, they work on this, per project or something like that. Like, are there, or is there some kind of solution for someone who maybe doesn't do that kind of stuff all the time, but, would like to maybe occasionally? The casual big case.
Well, yeah, absolutely. So, from our standpoint, we discuss transactional, which is per matter per case, and we also have enterprise or enterprise, which is we're dealing with the whole organization and all their cases and all their. So yeah, and not for nothing, we're not the only ones that do that. And,
cool.
And that being said, I can say that there's a solution for Brad.
All right.
So like,
let him know.
His best bet is to find someone who understands the space and talk to him.
Okay.
It really is. That would be my thing, because, people who have been in lit support for a long time, particularly project managers who have to deal with resources, all types of resources, and understanding those resources' strengths and weaknesses, and apply that resource to a specific problem, have information like that stored and know and can give advice on it.
Nice. So just don't. So Brad, don't just write it off, man. There's something out there to help you out. You just got to get on the phone or get on the internet.
Yeah, you've got to figure it out. I mean, there's definitely a solution. I can tell you that, because solutions exist.
Nice. So, and part of that comes up. Like I always ask this question a lot, but I mean, we've had a lot of legal tech and software companies on the show, and we've seen some incredible solutions, that are available now. But really, like, what everyone asks us when people hit us up on Twitter, and I'm chatting with Brad, when people want to know what's next. So, can you give us a hint? Like, is there any big idea on the horizon or something that's coming soon in legal tech that you're excited about?
Oh, I know that coming at legal tech, come to the Case Point, because we've got some exciting things that are coming. But beyond that, from a space perspective, one of the things that people are struggling with, the biggest struggle that they are having, is managing these looming data volumes. What I'm excited to see and excited to hear talked about are how to take these data lakes and layer software over those data lakes. A data lake is a place where deconstructed information coming from anywhere sits, and turn the data lake into more structured information. That, I believe, is the future of not just this space, but any type of legal regulation space, and frankly, some of our clients' own personal data management problems.
Man, well, so it's something about machine learning and something about discerning all of the information, and
that's right.
So there you go. That's project management, sort of, in a little bit of a nutshell. I see what you're doing here, Jessica. It's almost like you planned this.
Plan your questions.
But here's a question. We're going to put you on the spot. If you had to give the JD on the street one piece of advice in regards to everything that we've talked to today, what would you tell this lawyer? What would you tell her?
Get some project management skills, no doubt.
And that's it. So project management skills. But here I am. I'm a lawyer, and I'm worried. I want to get some business. I have some lead gen person that's breathing down my neck. I should get a website. I should be on social media. Should I be on TikTok? Should I be looking at this? What kind of data am I looking for? Where could I find all this stuff? I mean, how do you get people to start? Project management is the way to start. I mean, do you kind of...
It absolutely is.
Can you slap people around a little bit harder here at the end?
Okay, let me slap people around a little bit harder. Okay, so given all of the information, given all of the change that continually happens in our space, the legal space, that you need a skill set that allows you to manage that change. That skill set is project management. Project management solves all problems, period. I honestly believe that. I've said that like 10,000 times. It does. It solves all problems. If you start getting a project management skill set, and then now you want to attack a specific problem, or you want to know where to start, that skill set helps you solve that problem, solve and answer your question. That's it. So like, I want to get in this type of business. Okay, let me set up a project plan that will guide me towards getting into that type of business. Execute on the plan.
And then you got the measurable goals, and somebody to follow you up and accountability, because Jessica's going to be knocking down your door. She's going to be saying, listen,
that's right.
You better get it together.
But honestly, I honestly believe, I mean, I'm an evangelist. I recognize that, but I'm also a testimony to what project management can do for your career, and actually pretty quickly. It's a skill set that all new lawyers should have. I think that all law students should be taking some type of project management class. And if it's a legal project management class, all the better.
I want to end it, but I want to keep talking, and that's the problem. Because they're saying, oh, you need to learn how to code. Oh, you need to learn how to, the tech competence and all these things. And so this person is...
No, you don't need to do any of that, because that's resource management. And that's project management. So really, you understand yourself as a resource, and then you understand where you find other resources.
I think part of it too, at least for me, was, if you go and take a look, like Jake brought up Kanban before, like if you actually look at the actual, like how you move those things through, it makes a lot of sense. Like you can see all the pieces moving. And I think a lot of, maybe people who are intimidated by, project management as, giant, cliff face. You realize that once you break it down, you're kind of already doing it. And this is just a better way to do it, Yeah.
There's a lot of natural project managers who are doing project management right now anyway. They just don't know what they're doing. And sometimes they just need the lexicon applied to what they're doing. And that's really, you're like, and now project management. Now people focus on the PMP or the PMI. That's not the only one. And it's not even the biggest one, right? Prince 2 is the biggest project management framework and methodology that exists in the world. And it is more closely related to service project management than PMI or traditional project management is, or even agile project management is.
Oh my gosh.
So that's something that someone should look at if they are if they're interested. And the other thing is, you don't need a certification to be a good project manager. In fact, that's not it at all. All you need to do is apply the concepts and tools of project management to the project environment that you're working in. That's what makes you a project manager, not a certification.
It's so wonderful. It's the skills that you can take with you. So finding out all of this, I mean, there's more acronyms here than a Tom Clancy novel. And so if people want to reconnoiter with you and get on the same coordinates with you, how can they find you on the internet, Jessica?
The best way is through LinkedIn, actually. I'm there. That's where I keep my public persona. Keep my public information. Exactly.
5 questions we ask everyone.
What was the last book you read?
Rise of the Magics by Nora Roberts.
Awesome. Good. Number 2, what's your favorite place?
Costa Rica.
Hell yeah. Number 3, what sites, blogs, newsletters, or podcasts do you regularly check in with?
Harvard Business Review.
That's it. Just
Good.
That's it. That's the one I'm regularly checking on.
Nice. I love it. Okay. Number 4, if you were stranded on a desert island and could only pick one condiment to take with you, what would it be?
Oh, that one's very hard. One condiment.
One.
Tzatziki.
Nice.
Wow. The second tzatziki has come into the arena.
Nice.
Oh,
rare air. All right. Last one. After a long day or a long week at work, how do you relax and unwind?
I actually watch action movies.
Oh my God.
Sweet.
I love it. Like Bloodsport? I used to just relax and watch
Absolutely.
Bloodsport.
Like Bloodsport.
Oh my God, I love it. Tom Poe, when he's putting his hands in the glass, and then he's, oh man.
I recently watched Six Underground. Go Netflix. That's one.
That's good. Yeah, it looks good.
Yep, and the gratuitous violence is satisfying. Yes.
For show notes, links, and info, go to thelawsomepodcast.com or follow us on Twitter or Facebook. Be sure to leave us a review and rating in iTunes or wherever you find the you listen to. Until next week, stay lawsome.